Hello and welcome. Today's date comes in that of Thursday, 30th day of July, 2020. My name is Derek. This is the Money Charts channel, where, like always, all bets, trades of the like within each his own risk and their own reward. And for myself, risk reward management is always job number one. And as you can see in the title of this video, the codes that I'm going to be looking at is Bitcoin. Then we'll take a look against both Bitcoin and against the dollar in the order that of Litecoin, Ethereum, and Tezos. So then, without further ado, let's get started. And Bitcoin managed to make it up to this resistance level on April the 30th. And then it even progressed a little bit higher to it. It really was more of a larger level at a hair above 10K. Most certainly a clear, concise break occurred above that level this week on the 27th. Well, now we've got these three candles doing this yada yada stuff. And this yada yada is holding and staying above these levels, not rejecting or so far accepting this multi-day breakout, because it really was a one-day move of 1.7%, then 2.4%, then the bigger day where it ended up with a net gain of 11%. And since that point, the market's pretty much the exact same price as that close. So as we can see this on short-term time frame analysis stuff, it's establishing some short-term resistance, 11.2, upwards to 11.333-ish, and even upwards again to 11.4. Support, we've got a lot of this right in this current area around 10.8, 10.888, so 10, and then we've established and yet to test 10,600, which of course was the level right here on the 6-hour timestamp, July the 28th. So those are the short-term hold levels. If it's able to get above this, and well, that means on the daily chart you're starting to go back into new territories of the more recent time, and thus test some of these higher areas here. We got the 13, 14K barrier, which of course is that next key level. Let's move on to Litecoin. $57.18, and I got this line that I drew in, and I had this line above that I drew in. It just represents basic your Fibonacci from this low to this high, and it looks to me as if it's going to be making it towards this target level of about 64 and change, usually piercing extra, so I would expect 65 and 66 within this particular move. Whether we have any miscellaneous corrections along the way, maybe come back to $50 or 49 where we came from, or meet up one way or another within this 18, yada yada. Those to me are all possibilities, but the move is looking very, very good. And just on the short term now, I'd like to see the breakout occur. Now it tested this previous level. If we can see throughout the most of the day, if it can hold around above 56 and even 55 high change, and literally support that level, and really play around, and for the most part even really holding 56 and having many moments of time today trading in 56 range plus. That is going to be a very, very good signal. And of course, if it breaks above this resistance, which is at around 57 high change, then I'd be looking forward to just clear through 58 pretty good as well. And this overall market, since this high, had this a little bit of this move, which do you consider this a failed rally? Well, one of the ways I look at failed moves is it's got to hold about a 61.8%, and so far it's holding and staying above the 61.8 from this high to this low, which would be somewhere around in here, and it's still got a long ways to go for what it's worth for this to be like, wow, this is big. But as I've been mentioning, I wouldn't be surprised if when coins are ready to go collectively, they're just all going to fly and overperform Bitcoin. We'll see if that's true or not, but that's what I'm predicting will occur in time. It's been a long way, because it's been months, and it feels like years and decades, even though it does some of time has not been even close to 10 years. But anyway, let's take a look at Litecoin against the Bitcoin. And in viewing such on the weekly, we had this major sell move here, and then from this point, a rally up to 24 handle back in 2018. And that's a normal key point. Sold off very aggressively and wildly for quite some time, many weeks, almost for pretty much 3/4 of a year. And then a failed rally occurring in 2019, at least on this market, as it rallied up here, but it was unable to hold, and just difficult times, not even supporting this previous level of support, rather resisting it. And as we look at this now, it has done nothing to stop this downtrend. At best, right now, I mean, this attempt right now is, to me, it's not even an attempt, albeit possibly, to break out. It's an attempt most certainly to flatten the band out, and it's doing a decent job at that, because a lot of times these markets can take a decent amount of time to heal, and well, it has been that thus far, and it could even be that much more. But on the daily time frame, this is where it gets very interesting, and it's not a long-term time frame on the daily, but from this period on, this little setup in here looks extremely interesting. And then if I look at this on the shorter term, there's that situation, just as I was mentioning within the one against the dollar, how this is having a nice little rally, breaking out of this level of correction. So just like this, holding and staying above a key level, like really the 50 number, I'd have to think on this, would be, I mean, because if it doesn't do it, you're talking about that failed breakout, and a failed breakout on this would mean, oh, we're going to go down to like 47 handle or lower. But if it can hold and stay above this, then you can start to talk about battling with, okay, we got above this level of resistance is kind of congesting at right now. That should tell me at least this should go to 56, 57, up to maybe this level here, 59, or 60 handle, I suppose. That's a 20+% move against BTC. That seems like, and the whole setup in here, the down move, the failed breakdown here on the 8 hour, how it's moved up to this, back to this. Oh, this is just a phenomenal setup to me, it looks, as it is moving forward. Okay, let's move on next to Ethereum. Currently priced in at about 318 against the US dollar. An interesting pattern in here when we look at this from here. You have this down move to this high, then this down move to this high. And this is a retest of this. Then it goes down again, and it quickly does that failed breakdown shenanigans. Does amazing work amongst this 18 in here, and yada yada. This little move in here, yet another test of this area. So down move and up move. Breaking above this level of resistance. Yeah, we could be looking at this thing having a good 2x kind of push, maybe if 80% move, but it does look to me, and that's just like a whatever. I mean, when I say that, this is okay in any chart for that matter. Okay, so we make a move to this. Well, I don't know what we're going to do. Could be big resistance, maybe. And bullishly or bearishly, it's resistance. And I say bullishly or bearishly, well, maybe it's a key top, and that's it. Okay, maybe. And maybe it's bullish, and we have a key top, we come back here, and then, oh, we break it later. So that's where, I mean, if something's bullish or bearish to happen, those would be a type of scenarios. But that doesn't mean resistance is definitely going to be there, and it could be weak resistance, as I've talked about in many videos before. Well, okay, maybe it does slow the pace of an uptrend, but it's not able to really do any major downtrend moves. If you're looking to do any, like a trade, shorting the market for big profits, or selling and trying to buy back at a much cheaper price, and you're just not getting those cheaper prices, those are very common scenarios that can take place when resistance is also met, let alone when it's not met. It's not going to work either. Yeah, well, let's short at like 650, then the next thing you know, it's up to like 1200. It's like, holy shit, and you're just, yeah, those things can happen basically. All right, so that's the weekly time frame. Take a look at this on the daily chart. This has had a nice little run from these lows, just continuing up with higher highs and higher lows. It was down to like 100. Now it's over 3. Volatility, yada, yada. We had resistance established at about a little under 250, and it's made a gain of about 25 or so percent. That's just how it's been. 8 hour, I think it was 8 hour, 3 hour chart had an interesting, yeah, this is just like the whole little clunch move. So something like this, I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen. 3, I mean, there's no sign of a range, a continuation up or major down retracement. As after this great move, while it's not as overextended as it was back at, say, like 3 days ago when it was at 318, when it was well above the 18 highs, we've now caught up to it in this time correction. So I mean, there's this kind of one, but what kind of move is like this? I mean, it's got to stop. We got to get something established. Maybe we do some sort of range. I mean, so far, I guess this is where support resistance, I suppose, would come in, and this is where the likely range would play, but there's no signs of that. If it breaks us to the upside, well, then this has been a phenomenal up move. We'll just see what the next continuation of this move will look like. As, of course, higher prices will come in. And then, when it's ready, and it's going to at some point, find a key low. You can pick this low. You can maybe pick this low and whatever else. And this low, continuation from this low. And you talk about Fibonacci retraces, but yeah, I think it'd be this low I'd be looking at for a fib level from kilo here to whatever the high happens to be, which is right now here. Well, we're going to have Fibonacci retracement and fill some of what I like to call as empty space. One of those three things got to occur, and I don't know which one it is, but you know what? It's one of those like it's got to pop soon type of deals, and I don't know which way it's going to go short term. But long term, I think this is a very, very safe coin. I've been asked what I felt about Ethereum and that of Tezos. And I'm now switching the chart up to Ethereum and Bitcoin, but with Ethereum and Tezos. With Ether, one of the reasons I really haven't got into trading it because the exchange fees are so expensive to get it off of Binance and relatively every single exchange. And even though Tezos, which used to be cheap when I bought it to get it off, it's not even that cheap either. However, Ethereum, I think, is a very good coin and is one that is definitely worth holding. And something you want to hold within your private keys, which pretty much all these coins and all the ones that I do show you can do so with. And with Ethereum on the daily term time frame, it's had a nice little interesting choppy set of moves. It's been very interesting with key low, key high. Key low, and then high, and even whatever in here. But this is a key low. Heck, even this, because this goes back up to here. So if you're able to get you have to be fast for this, but if you can make a trade here, you're buying Ethereum because you sold of it somewhere up here. Rallies up here, you sell. Okay, you buy back in here. Maybe you buy again in here, and then you could just sell on the way up, buy on the way down, kilo. And then here's a spot where this is weak resistance as an example. So it rallies, it doesn't go up, but how good were you getting your buybacks? You might have bought back at the same price and didn't buy back at all. And then you had this little interesting spot in here where it resisted a little bit higher, thus supporting this level where it came from. Oh, surprised that this happened afterwards. Just keep that in mind when you see situations like that within future charts. That's a pretty decent setup. Now we're seeing how this level of resistance showing very good levels of support. Still got to make a move above it, but the Ethereum chart on the weekly, this is what it comes down to, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because of this chart here. So 2018 started, which was when the cryptos topped, early January, February, basically January 2018. So the top on this is January of 2018 at the end, and everything pretty much went in a downtrend. So using this time frame, where do we see, since this market has declined, any change in the market? So we have downward trend, an attempt. There's resistance established after it left the 18 highs. Breaking that, you can resume the bull market, but it didn't break it here. Thus, the 18 barely started to rise, but never really was able to let it go in any good rising status and break any rate of ascent like that. And then ultimately resisting the highs and then another leg lower. Neutralizing the market out in here. And then an attempt, this is a failed breakdown almost, because after the neutralization, you can see it weakness amongst the 18 on the second previous test of this low, wasn't able to break down. And then it got above this level of resistance. So thus, just like this was established resistance, this is established resistance as well. Now we come back to this band and we do all this stuff while it's starting to rise. And what have we done? Ooh, last week it broke established resistance. So it looks to me as if for the first time since 2018, or start of 2018, well, since here basically, Ethereum's in a bull market against Bitcoin on this particular, like a very long-term time frame. So whatever, take that for whatever it's worth. Okay, now let's finally move into Tezos, and I've been asked about Tezos and my thoughts on it. So this tells me that this is somebody who is a new subscriber, maybe somebody who doesn't watch my videos as often. And if that's the case, you're going to have to watch this one. I got to put the Tezos in the title so you can see it. But Tezos is something I'm a large holder on, and it's a weird reason why. But it's just because of somebody's karma. So I'm just trying to read a person like a poker player is what it came down to. My poker skills at the table is the reason why I got into it. As far as Samantha Jane is the person whom I read, and trying to get her validity to why she loves this coin so much, and see if I can get some genuineness within it. And I didn't succeed in getting that. So far, Tezos has been a very good investment for me because I bought it from the start when available on the Binance exchange, because it was back in here when she was talking, I'm like, yeah, but where do I buy Tezos from? I mean, I only buy on Binance, really. Oh, it's on Binance now. Okay, let's buy it. And it started off here at about almost $1 coin. Then it's rallied up to almost 4, pulled back down to about $1. Well, let's just look at this on a daily time frame just because we can see it better. So pulled back down to like $1, yeah. And then you just have these moves. So it's established this nice resistance at about $3 low change, 3.25. We've established some support, or the market has established some support around 2.25. And a little bit higher again at around, it's about 250, 260, oh man, whatever there though. But it's all in the sideways neutrality range, and it's going to break it to one side or another. If it breaks this level of resistance, it looks like we have a weak resistance test, and who knows at the $4 level, because it could go to 4, maybe come back to 318, and just yada yada range it, support where we resisted this old area here more often, and just stay in this area, which is a good sign to have. But of course, breaking this $4 mark is when you start to maybe looking at it making a move to double digits. And within this, if this breaks down, then we've had retracement from this high to this low. Well, we've already retraced down to here. We got this low to retest, and we got maybe this general area in here down to previous low. But I'm very confident moving forward within the Tezos, taking a look at this against that of the Bitcoin. It's been in this big sideways consolidation, and it's good and bad for me. Bad because, oh, good job not hitting this line. Yeah, I mean, I would have bought more. And then it also has been good as far as look at all these up and down moves it is, because I've taken the advantage of a decent amount of them, a bit more. I wish I could have taken advantage of more of them, but with that being said, that doesn't mean I didn't buy in here and I didn't sell up there and then buy down here and do all that stuff, which of course I did. And if this goes down lower, well, I play coins against other coins and I'll trade them amongst such. When I feel with any altcoin, any of them, including my favorites, which this is one of them, Tezos, Theta, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin. If they have what I think are spectacular gains, both that via against the dollar and the Bitcoin, then it's time to do some good liquidation, distribution. But until then, it's just accumulation of these coins, because one coin's worth more than another. I can divide one by another coin. And this is just one example with Tezos against Theta. You need about 11 Theta to buy one Tezos. But these prices consistently change, though. Up here, ratio is 26, 25. And then it went all the way down to 5, 10. And I'll just buy these back and forth and increase both portfolios back and forth by doing it. And I always think, well, if you just are in the business or the want of holding a bunch of coins like Theta, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Chainlink, and not any of them kind of deal, then you can just trade them back and forth, and then you start doing it one day, and then years later you look back and you're like, oh wow, look how many of these coins that I've gained. And I think that can work out on many, but that's exactly why I do it, because it's just so easy, and I think it's exactly that of very, very efficient. And this is just, of course, of one of several crosses in which I trade. But even just in here, we can see like 9.72 up to like 13.5. That's close to a 40% move on here. This is a 17% day here, followed by 3.5% up, 10.59. So here's a spot where I'm selling Tezos for Theta. And then on the way back down, I'm going to turn those Theta back in for Tezos. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.